Hey everyone, it's been a while since I posted anything, but I'm going to be posting a bunch of stuff pretty rapid fire over the next couple weeks. The project is listed and pending an offer right now, so obviously there's been a lot that's happening between the last video and now. Um, so I'll just dive right in. This video is going to just briefly touch on the liquid flashing applications and substrates that I used during this process. And part of my goal when I do any build is to somewhat experiment with different tools, different materials to see which one works best. It's really hard to plan on having one material for one job and then have to wait for the next job to test the next material and then the next job to test something else. So I tried to add some of that testing in here, and I looked at all three of the liquid flash uh, materials that I knew of. I'm sure there's some other ones out there, but I want to briefly talk about those. The first one, which obviously goes with the system that I'm using, is the zip liquid flash. And I'm gonna make this guy a little bigger, maybe not. Anyways, so there we go. This is what we used around kind of the windows, obviously, and the seams and the uh, get this pointer going. The seams here and the nail holes, as you can kind of see here. The next one that we used was the this polywall blue barrier. This is not a very good picture of it, but if you look up polywall blue barrier, you'll see um, the material that we used there, and that looks like this. This blue stuff here, and this is kind of it afterwards. You can kind of see where it was hardening, kind of caked over and skimmed over the top here. So all of these materials, whether let me go one more. The next one was the Prosico R-Guard roller grade one, and we again used that on the bottom seam, bottom where the exposed end of the zip was near the concrete foundation. Um, let's touch back quickly on the tools used. So you just the first time I used this was with the sausage gun, and no matter what you do, whether you're using the spatula or a chip brush and the the sausage gun, it literally, once you do probably one or two windows, your hands have the liquid flash all over it, and you're holding the gun, and this is kind of what happens after after an hour or so using that. It just gets all over your gun. You need new tips, and that's fine. I mean, it comes with different tips. This hand grip actually didn't get a ton on it. It was really the main body here. So what I did and what you can do is actually just tape your gun, and it takes a little extra time, but it saves you from having to buy a new gun not every time you apply this, but it just makes your gun last a lot longer than if you'd not had it on there. So that's kind of the one takeaway that I would have from this. The next takeaway um, is that no matter whether it was the zip, the blue barrier, or the R guard, um, when you're trying to apply it overhead and let's say like a window opening, let's top of the window up here, it would just drip down. Like, it doesn't matter if it was the zip or the R guard or the blue barrier, and it was just not as easy to obviously trowel on um, to the top surface. And that's where a lot of that mess was happening, because you're working overhead and you're getting it on your hands and things. So I don't think I don't have a solution for that, but just something to be aware of. And even when I was trying the other applications, so the zip I applied with the with the gun, and then with these other two, because they're roller grade, I rolled them on. The issue with the blue barrier, as you can kind of see here, is that even when I was in the even when I first opened it, and was dipping the roller in, it was very, very viscous. I mean, it was really hard to roll on, and it was probably borderline too low of temperature for that. It was above the temperature, but like I said, it was close. Uh, then here's a little clip of what happens after that temperature kind of gets reached here. Okay, so I was using Polywall's blue barrier, and it really has a hard time sticking to the wood there when it's wet, even though they say you can put it on when it's wet. I mean, that doesn't look too bad. Down here, there's some problems, and even in the front, it's not sticking to the Huber system. It doesn't roll on as easily as it did when it was dry, so I'm not sure if I got a bad batch or what. So I really think I was just borderline to getting to that too low of temperature and having that wet surface there. It didn't really stick on that Huber, and it could be because maybe this polywall wasn't the right material to use. You know, everyone's like, use our own material, and there's reasons for that, and I get it. And as you can see, I didn't use I think I used this one place. Again, this was me trying things out, and I used it down here, and because I had to basically soak the roller to have it be at a point where I could roll it on, it was too much, and then it just started dripping down. So out of the three, I would say if I was to go back and make my choice, I would probably do the R-Guard. It was the most friendliest in terms of the roll-on applications. You can see here that I rolled on it, and there's a lot less dripping happening here than you see happening here, and even here. And normally I would mask this off, but again, this is kind of a trial one, and I didn't want to spend a ton of time doing that. And like I said, because I had to put so much on to get it to the point where I could roll it. It just started to drip. So I would say either the zip or the R-Guard, it would be the way that I would move in the future. The problem with the zip is it gets expensive, right? Like it's not. I don't want to say it's super expensive, but if you're going to be doing that much work, you might as well, just roll it on. And that's probably what I would do in the future, if I had my choice. The thing that I need to dive into a little bit more is to make sure that this Prosico is, I don't want to say it's rated, but make sure it works fine with the Huber. I didn't have any issues with it. Like I said, sticking here was fine, versus kind of this piece, which was not sticking as well, and you can kind of see it kind of globbing up on me there. So I'm trying to think if there's any other major takeaways at this point, and I don't think so. I'm glad I tried them all. They're all like, I think, I want to say this was 200. I think these were all about the same, 300. And obviously these liquid flash tubes are about 30. I want to say $30 a tube around. So if you got 10 windows, that's 300. You got, I had 20 some windows. So you're talking $600 to $1,000, and I think I probably could have gotten away with using this, the R-Guard, versus that, and it would have been half the price. I would have to probably check to see if this would have made it through all the windows, but it would have been pretty close. The nice thing about the R-Guard, or at least what Prosico touts, is that it cures while it's wet out. Like that's how it was designed, to pull moisture into it to help it cure. So that was kind of my quick take on Prosico versus Zip versus Polywall Blue Barrier, and my experience with them. And the temperature, I want to say, as I touched on it, was maybe like 40 something, around that degree when I was using the Blue Barrier and some of these. So anyways, that's my take on these guys. And if you have any questions, post below. And thanks for watching.